All right, so before we get started, I just want to point out one last time that I am not a primary care physician. I'm not a PCP. I'm also not a psychiatric provider as well. So the best I can tell you to do is research these products yourself, and then before trying anything, talk to your doctor or a psychiatric provider about whether or not cannabidiol is a good option for you or your loved one. Don't forget, supplements, your dietary restrictions, your biology, and of course, any medications you're currently taking can interfere with these products, right? So before you try anything, talk to your doctor. All right, with that said, let's get started. When my clients ask me, what's the best supplement to take when it comes to doing things such as reducing anxiety, chronic pain, helping with sleep, improving cognitive performance, working memory, inflammation in the body, typically what I go to is CBD products. Now, granted, there's three variations that you can choose from. CBD isolate, which is just CBD by itself. CBD broad spectrum, which is typically what I promote most of the time when it comes to talking with your doctor. And that typically has to do with all the active ingredients with the exception of THC, tetrahydrocannabidiol. THC, in my opinion, right, now this is my humble opinion, is a drug that has very limited benefits. Now, I know some of my viewers that really enjoy their THC product would disagree with me, but other than it being an escape mechanism, typically most of the benefits that are derived from THC can be better explained by the co-occurring ingredients that are in line with CBD products, right? So cannabis and hemp both have naturally occurring amounts of THC and CBD in them. So that's typically why I don't recommend full spectrum products, right? Full spectrum is products that contain THC in them. Even though research online is conflicting, what I've seen as a provider is that counter affects the benefits of both THC or, if they're paired together, CBD. Even though some research says that you need a little bit of THC to activate the CBD, I've read 3 books on the subject so far. I've read a bunch of scientific research journals. I've yet to find the smoking gun that kind of points in that direction. If anything, typically if people overdose on THC, they'll be given CBD to counteract the effects. And we also know that if you plant a cannabis plant and a hemp plant side by side, they'll cross-pollinate and they'll actually weaken the amounts of their primary active ingredients. So with that said, my opinion, and at least my experience as a provider, most individuals that say that CBD doesn't work for them, they'll either take something short-acting like a gummy that gets prematurely broken down by your stomach acids anyways, or they'll take something that has either trace amounts or decent amounts of THC in it, which really counteract the effects of each drug. Or they're chronic THC users on the weekend. So even though they've quit, let's say, cannabis for a week, 2 weeks, we know that at least trace amounts of THC can be found in your system up to a month or more just by being stored in your fat cells. So with that said, I highly recommend a tried and true CBD product such as Social CBD that you can find on their website. Social CBD is owned by the company Helist Naturals, which is diversified into 4 major products that they make, which is Probulin, Social CBD, and then you have Level Select CBD and Level Select OTC. And as evidenced by down here when it comes to their website, they've been in this market for about well over 15 years. So they have a leading background when it comes to something that has just been emerging over the past decade, really, when it comes to people actually able to buy this type of stuff. So apparently Probulin is a probiotic company. Well, there you have it. One of the concerns you should be worried about when it comes to choosing a correct CBD product is how long they've been on the market, because that typically shows whether or not they've been tried and true when it comes to things like the FDA and proper testing, and whether or not that their 0% THC claims are actually true. Because don't forget, even if a company does a really good job getting rid of most of the THC in a CBD product, it doesn't mean that they've gotten rid of all of it and that their testing is showing that. I have purchased extended release CBD products in the past where I've had a drug test myself where, believe it or not, there have been trace amounts of THC. Not so much detectable where they'd fail you on a drug screening, but they would come close to those cutoff thresholds that we all look for when it comes to chemical drug testing. So with that said, typically in my mind, again, this is my own opinion for myself, my worries are put to rest when it comes to certain products I've already tested myself. But other ones, especially emerging CBD manufacturers that are just coming on the market, it's a little bit more leery whether or not it's something that can be trusted. Another thing that I want you guys to keep in mind as well is the delivery system, right? So the sublingual tinctures that you will find, they work really well, believe it or not. However, most people, when they put little droplets under their tongue where the gums and also the capillaries underneath the tongue absorb that CBD chemical, typically they don't keep it in their mouth long enough, and they'll swallow it immediately after putting it inside their mouth. Kind of defeats the purpose, right? Again, it gets prematurely broken down by your stomach acids if you do something like that. So typically, they recommend, most manufacturers, at least 30 seconds swishing it in your mouth back and forth, and then swallowing. And then, of course, if you can extend that by a minute or two, obviously you should be able to see a little bit more effect or benefit. But just keep in mind that typically I see these products working from about 2 to 4 hours when you use the sublingual tincture. They do work, but they're very short acting. Gummies, again, try to stay away from. Capsules, okay, maybe if taken with food, they do work a little bit better. Also, make sure you stay away from acidic foods such as coffees and orange juices, and most certainly grapefruit juices that might bolster the acid effect of the chemical breakdown when it comes to ingesting something like this. So typically longer acting products such as this CBD product has a 12-hour delayed release mechanism, which means that it doesn't start, really being released into your metabolism until it gets metabolized by your large intestine, giving it a better chance towards absorption. And not to mention, we want that bell curve effect when it comes to it staying in your system long enough for it to work. So the CBD teas, such as Buddha teas, they work really good as well. Just keep in mind, same thing with the sublingual tinctures. Maybe even cheaper way of doing CBD products. Even though Buddha teas are kind of pricey, so there might be a cheaper alternative out there that you can find. All right, so with that said, let's take a look at the Social CBD website. So I almost thought about doing a rap video entry to all this, having to do almost like a DMX song, right? CBD. But anyways, here we are at the Social CBD website. When it comes to what I recommend, here are the capsules right here, which contains that 12-hour variant, extended release variant that they have. However, just so you can see all their products, I'll quickly click on all the little links here. So as you can see, they are pricey, but in my opinion, it's worth it. And look at all the variants of the droplets that they offer. It's quite the selection. I'm really, really impressed. They even have one for pets. So, and there's 2 pages. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, they have that at least, right? So these would be the sublingual droplets or tinctures. Gummies, I again do not recommend. Please stay away from these. Yes, I like gummies too. Who doesn't like enjoying something that you have to consume anyways? But with that said, again, these typically don't work so well, and I definitely don't want people taking these before they go to bed at night. Don't forget, it takes your entire brain to metabolize and digest food, meaning that some people that can't sleep at night is because you're eating right before bed. Right? Cats, caffeine, alcohol, tobacco, and sugar is something you should avoid before bedtime. So, all right, and here are the capsules, and I'm really just interested in showing you the one right now. Here's that 12-hour extended release one. And look at the reviews. 4.9 stars out of 17 reviews. So unless they have everybody at their plant or manufacturing center giving their own reviews, these are just random consumers, and I'm impressed, right? And by personal experience, I've been using their products for years now. These are tried and true. It really does work. And it looks like you can save 30% by using their subscribe and save. On occasion, they do have sales, but honestly, at least my experiences, I've taken advantage of some of their promotional, if you want to call them screw-ups, where you can stack the subscribe and save discount with other discounts. I'm doubting that they're going to allow that to happen anymore in the future, so just keep that in mind. So probably $56 is your best bet right here to subscribe and save. Oh, at least these people actually have names, so that's a good sign. Although, here we go, right? So we have 2 reviewers that were incentivized. So I believe as of this month, reviewers have to post whether or not they've been given any type of compensation, including a free product, to do something like that. So, But here we go. Here's some verified buyers right here. So these can be trusted, of course. All right, and going through the last of their products here. Here's topicals, right? So these are typically creams or items that are either transdermal. They go through the skin, kind of like patches or creams, or here's a bath soak right here. Lotions, huh? Well, I see the hemp lotions all the time. And apparently they have chapstick. If you really need your CBD fix, it's probably a nice, discreet way of doing it. Maybe it was either a Botox injection that went poorly, or one of those fat injections that maybe there's a little bit of pain associated with a botched plastic surgery job. But again, not dissing people that get plastic surgery. But I'm trying to think of the limited applications for a product such as this one. Again, the amount of CBD you'd be receiving just for your lips would be nominal, especially the surface area. But, all right, nifty nonetheless. And for pets here. Very cool. All right, Social CBD, if you are listening to this YouTube review, please incentivize me. I would love to try your other products for viewers. Well, I most certainly hope that you learned something when it comes to CBD products, some risk factors associated with, whether or not you should be taking this product, especially if, again, you consume alcohol or have any type of liver problems. This does raise liver enzymes. With that said, there are alternatives you can look for as well after speaking to your doctor, and that would include hemp products off of Amazon. That, again, is a little bit restricted just because the aforementioned, concerns that we have, especially relevant around THC. Amazon just doesn't want to be a part of that right now, at least my understanding. All right, so just a real quick post-edit comment about the safety of all this too. Keep in mind that the hemp plant is a bioaccumulant, I believe. I believe that's the correct term for it, meaning that it sucks up everything in the ground, including heavy metals and toxins. And it's actually one of the reasons why that was actually used, I believe, in Chernobyl for radiation. So if they do a really poor job of removing the THC, you have to ask yourself what other trace amounts of other chemicals or toxins or heavy metals are they failing to get out of that plant. All right, so again, talk to your doctor. They probably have some really good suggestions of companies that you can use when it comes to starting your CBD journey. However, on Amazon, they do sell hemp products that contain at least small amounts of CBD. Again, will contain those omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids that are also naturally occurring in the hemp plant. So you derive some, positive benefits associated with that. And just keep in mind too, a lot of these products, when it comes to how they get their CBD, the 3 main methods I believe that they derive CBD with. And that's typically carbon dioxide, alcohol, and the most popular olive oil method. So usually the sublingual tinctures, it'll taste like olive oil, right? Because it is olive oil. And of course, the other methods may be a little bit more expensive or not as good at extracting the CBD from the hemp plant. Typically, it's the hemp plant that they try to get a lot of this from because it's typically higher amounts in that plant. I believe industrial hemp has about 0.3% CBD in it, depending on how they extract it. And with that said, hopefully you learned something from today's episode, and stay tuned to our next one.